All right, welcome to Broker to Broker, brought to you by AIME, Association of Independent Mortgage Experts. I am your host, JP Hussey of the Hussey Team Mortgage Advisors. Today, I got my boy, Ben Lavender.
JP, thank you for having me, sir.
Yes, but I want to make sure we're clear here. Mm-hmm. It's not lilac. It's not taupe. It's not a pink. It's not even a light purple. It's lavender.
That's correct. Like the flower, the scent, or the candle, whatever your mother prefers.
Well, it's a color too, right?
It is.
All right, I thought I screwed that whole thing up.
No, you did well.
No, you're
well. I'm impressed.
Yeah, we've known each other for 3-4 years.
Yes.
Right? We're a part of a group that we're not allowed to talk about. It's like Fight Club.
True.
But that's what's really cool about this industry is you get to know a lot of cool people in this, obviously the same industry. We're all psychopaths.
Yes.
You have to be that in this type of industry.
Degenerates is another.
And degenerates, right? But it's really cool with social media, which we're going to dive into later, of all the people that you can meet and help out and learn from and have a support group. And that's where I've known you for a lot of years. So it's good to see you really only meet you or see you in person like the third or fourth time, but I've known you for 3 or 4 years. Yeah. And it's kind of like what we hope Brokers Are Better group is kind of turning into. Have you kind of seen that?
Yes. It's tremendous.
Because we've had this group for a while, and it's made up of brokers, correspondent, people with banks, whatever it is, but they're just good, badass mortgage people.
Yeah, it's like we all like to have fun, do business, but at the end of the day, we're there to support each other without there being some type of an agenda.
That's a really good point.
I think that's what makes it special, that we're not trying to sell each other and do all that.
And this business is known for having agendas.
Yeah.
And you can feel it, especially on the broker side, where there's not really an agenda. Of course, there's always going to be certain things, which there has to be some sort of agenda. Yeah. But it's really it's looser, and it's really bringing a lot of people together. Which, not to get too weird, but it helps out the consumer. Yeah. And that's really the main point of all this. Better. Yeah. All right, so let's dive in a little bit more now that we got that out of the way. And I'm going to go for the English accent the whole time, and you're going to go Philly slang. You said no. Hello.
Hello, lassie.
Yeah, I like it. But that's just normal for you. But anyway, so you're with Affordable Financial Services.
Yep.
You're a British mortgage broker. Is that what you call yourself, right?
Yeah, I was going to go with the British Jewish mortgage broker, but it was too long, so I just went with British.
You tried to throw them all in there.
Yeah, it's a little bit much. So yeah, go by the British mortgage broker. It's very cheesy.
But it's not
memorable.
It's not cheesy. It's so. What I say is with marketing, there's a line. Either you don't do anything fun, then in the middle, which is the cheesy part. But if you go all in, that it's so over the top, it's not.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's how I see it.
No, I agree. But part of I don't know if you call it an issue, part of the challenge is that mortgages by nature are boring.
It's boring.
Yeah, no, who wants to talk about rates and all that? Like, people want to know, right? So, I guess we'll talk more about it, but one of the videos that I've made is, it was an update on interest rates, right? Which I'm like, how can I make an update on interest rates funny or memorable? So the video opens up with me saying effing interest rates, bleeped out. Yeah. It's like, and it's boom, it's attention. So that's part of the challenge. And then some of the stuff is you've got fun, entertaining videos, then you've got some boring ones. I feel like content it cannot be the same formula. It cannot be predictable, because otherwise no one pays attention.
No.
So
we live in such a reactionary type world and ADD, ADHD world where you got to get them off the bat. Yeah. And keep it fun, because like you said, it's boring. And if you're going to buy a house, you need one in most cases. You might as well have some fun with it, because YOLO.
Yep.
That was cheesy. YOLO.
But the kids like it.
But the kids like it, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's backtrack a bit. I want to get into all the marketing soon, but the listeners want to know more about you. Okay. I mean, you're here for a reason. You're doing good things, right? Let's start. Obviously, you have the accent.
Yes.
Let's take it all the way back.
And you can learn the accent too. I will teach it to you for a small fee.
That's great.
Yeah. Send them to London.
Where were you born?
Born in good old London, England.
Okay.
And moved to America, to New York specifically,
New York City or?
New York, Long Island, just outside the city, about 40 minutes. When I was 14.
14. Okay.
And I was super, super against moving to America. I mean, it sounds funny, but as a 14-year-old, I loved my life there. You know, I had great friends. You know, I was doing well in school.
Well, I'm sure it's tough for any 14-year-old if you move to a different state, you win a whole country.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience for sure. But my mental state at the time wasn't good. It could have been smoother if I just accepted it, but I kind of fought, you know, accepting being in America. But, you know, it was the best decision that my family ever made. And there were other reasons, you know. So as I mentioned in the beginning, that I'm Jewish, right? So in London, there's a lot of anti-Semitism, or the anti-Semitism was growing. From what I hear, it's gotten worse. So that's one of the reasons why we moved, because it affected my parents' business at the time. And I went to, this is funny, I went to a Jewish school in England. Now, 90% of schools in England, you wear a school uniform. Okay, so I was walking around central London in a blazer with a Jewish Star of David on my blazer.
Okay.
Right, so it's like people can spot you from a mile away. So it's not like I grew up in the ghetto or the projects or something. I had a very, very good life. But going to school in central London was challenging at times because people would try and rob us. The amount of times I was robbed as a kid was tremendous, held at knife point, all that stuff. It sounds worse than it was. It wasn't like every day am I going to die. It was just like, you know, be aware.
Well, this could happen. You're from New York and you came to Philly.
Yeah. I hope not, man.
I'm just kidding.
I really hope not. That's why I kept all the cash at home.
Yeah.
So I don't think necessarily we were picked on because they were like, I hate Jews, let's rob the Jews. It was more like, these Jewish kids are skinny and easy, so let's rob them. So, but there were, you know, the whole anti-Semitism thing came into play later, so that's one of the reasons why we moved. And then I grew up in Great Neck, which is a very, very nice neighborhood in Long Island, which has a very strong Persian Jewish community, so we felt comfortable, and I've got tons and tons of family. I have more family in America than I do in England, believe it or not. So we felt very comfortable here, and, you know, went to college in New York and all that stuff.
Where'd you go?
Queens College.
Nice.
Good old New York City, baby.
Yeah.
Nice and affordable.
Well, what do your parents do?
They're in the Persian rug business.
Really?
Yeah. So
we need 2 new rugs. They're in my cart in Wayfair right now for the kids' rooms. So maybe I'll just
stick with those.
Stick with those.
For your room, go to my parents. But yeah,
that's cool though.
Yeah, it's a cool business. I always hated the rugs growing up because I always had this dusty smell. But as I got older, and also for my 30th birthday, my mom gave me this gorgeous, like, silk blended rug. I don't know how much it's worth, and I don't want to know. But you know, now, you know, as you get older, you have appreciation for these things.
All right, cool. So now you're here, right? You're in America.
I am.
Let's take it past Queens College.
Okay.
We're there. You're in the Persian rug business, your family.
Yeah.
How did you get into the mortgage game? Because you've been in this since what, 2006-ish?
No, not that long.
Oh, okay.
2013, 2012-ish.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I was way off.
Yeah. Oh, maybe a little earlier. Like it's been roughly 7-8 years.
Okay.
Something like that.
Well, what'd you do before the mortgage game then?
So before I was full-time personal trainer.
Okay.
You know, or part-time, you could say, while I was in college.
I saw a video of you breaking a wall.
Yes, that was
a while ago.
Yeah, I had more hair in a slightly different location.
Sure.
But it was fun. It was the gift from the owner to myself for my birthday. He was like, you know, if you want to, smash these walls down. And I was like, I'm smashing these down. I was like, dude, it's drywall. You know, an infant could knock this down. But that was fun. That's fun, man. But fitness has kind of but it's always been a passion of mine, and martial arts and all that stuff. Obviously you've got the side where you're like, you want to look good, right? But there's more to it than that.
Because, mentally.
Yeah, mentally you need it. I'd say it's one of the few aspects of your life that you can really, really control. So there's power in that. And then you just feel good. So like I have a rule is that I never leave the gym feeling exhausted. I have to leave the gym feeling good so I can take on the day, because I go at like 5:30, 6 in the morning.
I might hire you as my personal trainer to get my butt up in the morning to do that.
You have to, man. Especially,
I know you have to.
You have kids too.
I know,
You got
man.
people
Stop
relying
making
on
me
you.
feel guilty, man. I didn't bring you on here to make me feel guilty.
I'm laying on the guilt, bro. It's the only way. Guilt is a powerful driving force.
100%, no doubt. All right, so you were doing personal training.
Personal training, and I had zero sales acumen, like absolutely none whatsoever. I was terrible.
So you worked for a gym then, and they just brought clients in? You didn't have to get any of them?
Oh, and I couldn't like convert anyone. It took me like a year to get my first client. I sucked.
Okay.
Like really, really badly. But what ended up happening is that one of my best friends opened a boot camp style gym, and I started working for him, and it was just the two of us. So I attribute a lot of my success to that today, because something I was forced to do. And remember, when I said I had zero sales acumen, I'm not exaggerating.
Okay.
Like I couldn't look people in the eye.
Yeah.
So something that I was forced to do is that we taught group classes of like 20 to 30 people. And we had to obviously spend the first 10 minutes of the session explaining it to people.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds so simple, but that alone made me comfortable with public speaking.
Cool.
And communicating and delivering some type of message in a way that's fun and obviously explains to people what they're going to do.
I love going deep with everything. I know, I love him. And this one's tough because I love the guy and we joke so much. But I'd like to know, for real though, what led you to get into sales or mortgage?
I'm getting there. Yep.
Because everything relates to that, right? Like you just said, you had trouble doing this, MMA, mixed martial arts, and working out increase your confidence to lead you to this next stage. So let's go to the next stage.
Yeah, next stage. So I met up with my cousin who runs our company, Shah Tarani. I'm sure you guys will have him on here soon. He's fantastic and has been an amazing mentor to me. And I just graduated school, and I was going to go work for one of the big 4 accounting firms because my entire family is just in accounting. So it made sense. And he's just like, why don't you give mortgages a shot? I was like, screw it, let's try it. It was that simple.
Okay.
But the same thing. Like I said, I had zero sales acumen. I also had zero knowledge about mortgages. I did not know what a refinance was. No idea. Didn't know like how purchasing works, down payment, nothing. I learned the whole thing from scratch. And I think having a good mentor is really what helped me.
That's been the constant with everyone I've talked to.
Yeah.
They had someone that was a mentor to them that said, why don't you try this? I mean, it's cliche or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, but
it's legit, right? All right, so he had said that, right? Now, what company was this? So is this the same company you're with right now?
No, okay. So I've only been broker for a year, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
So I was with small, what we refer to as the Long Island Mortgage Bank. So you got in Long Island, New York, a bunch of these small retail correspondent guys who like grab all the local market and have tremendous margins. And obviously at the time I knew nothing about margins. So I was with them along with Sean, our whole team for 6 years, 7 years. And business was good. It was Franklin First Financial was the name of the company.
Okay.
They were sent a cease and desist by the New York State Banking Department because of some stuff that some people did. I won't mention any names because who knows. But
so this is about a year ago?
This was, exactly 13 months ago.
Okay.
And then we had to switch to broker, or we had to go somewhere.
Had to do something, right?
Yeah, we had no idea. And we didn't know anything about the broker world other than like the rates are significantly better, at least in our market. The New York market's very, very different, by the way. The margins that these small Long Island banks have are tremendous. So going broker, honestly, it's like taking candy from a baby. Our rates are so low and the service is so much better. It's easy. But going back to the beginning, when I started and having a mentor, it wasn't just that. Like I had to grind working 12 hours a day, 5 to 7 days a week, at the very, very minimum, and just learning the business and becoming an expert at it, understanding guidelines, marketing, like all the origination side, and just exposing myself I think Malcolm Gladwell, he has a rule. I think it's 9,000 or 10,000 hours, and I was just trying to get my 10,000 hours in.
So this was in what year was it again? Around 13?
Yeah,
12, 13.
Yeah.
You had no idea what it was. So what did you do to learn? Did you take classes? Were you just reading?
Yeah,
or was it
everything.
just everything?
So I would straight up read the guideline books, like those thick green books.
Yeah.
I would freaking read them.
Okay.
I just read it back to back. Now I haven't done that for years, obviously, but I had no idea what else to do, because for me as a person, I don't feel comfortable selling a product
Unless you know it.
unless I really know it. Yeah, so I needed
Same
to
boat.
do it to make myself a good salesman. So I did that aspect, and then I had to learn about how to generate business, how to speak to people and communicate with confidence and all that stuff. So I listened to God knows how many audiobooks. Grant Cardone was a huge influence for me.
Cool.
Which a lot of people don't like him, but whatever.
Yeah.
I listened to his audiobooks over and over and over again. And it's not necessarily the tips of like the tools on like how to close. It's how he delivers his message, which I really loved. And there's something that he said, which I believe in today, and I still incorporate it into my business, is that if you feel that your product or whatever you're selling is better in terms of not just the pricing, but the service, the expertise, all that stuff, then you have an ethical responsibility to market yourself and help people. Right? Because otherwise they're going to have a crappy experience with someone else. And that's what gives me, as obnoxious as it sounds, that's what gives me confidence today. I know that I'm a better loan officer than 99% of the people in my market.
Well, you can't sleep at night unless you know you're doing right by the client.
Yeah.
And see, this is where, like, if you're a brand new loan officer, you do recommend this. Everybody's different, but reading guidelines, right? But like we're seeing it with other companies where you can look up their NMLS and you see where they worked the 6 months before, and now we'll say Quicken Loans, right? You can look that up, and they just don't have I'm a very consumer guy, like you are. Like, I have to feel good about it. I have to make sure that they're taken care of. And there's a lot of people in this industry, unfortunately, that have no idea what's going on, and they're working one of the biggest transactions of someone's life.
Yeah, with no experience, no knowledge, nothing.
With nothing, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a brand new loan officer, right, you suggest, okay, really understand the product. And how long do you think it really takes? How long did it take you to feel comfortable, speaking at a high level with clients? I mean, you got to get your feet wet. I get it. You got to trial and error, but
I'd say probably 3 years.
So 3 years.
3 years before I felt
for you personally. Someone could take them 6 months to a year.
Yeah, for someone else. But for me, I was, I was a slow learner at the time. And keep in mind, I was completely fresh and I was 22. So
how old are you now?
30.
Okay.
So it was challenging, but definitely for me, and because it wasn't just a matter of understanding the guidelines, it was understanding every aspect of the business.
There's so much to go
how
into
the transaction transpires, and then remember, New York, it's an attorney state, so you've got attorneys involved and title and all these. It's very complex.
Yeah, New York's one of those states, man, where I've tried to do, because I worked for Wells Fargo back in the day, depository, so you could lend everywhere, you get some New York deals, and I don't think I maybe closed one, because I just didn't understand it, and I didn't feel comfortable selling it, because it's different. Like New York and maybe Texas seem like the two states that are different.
Yeah. From what I am.
From what you hear, because you're in it, so you already know the deal.
Yeah, everyone that I meet says, "Oh, I'm staying out of New York," and I'm like, "Good."
Yeah. Well, yes.
More for me.
Right. All right, cool. So a year ago, there's been the cease and desist, First Franklin, right?
Yeah.
You guys have to decide as a group. You guys decided as a group for the most part?
Shaw, along
your
with
tight group?
with the top, with the other LOs, we kind of made a decision because we had all the presidents from these local mortgage companies trying to get our business, and they were all just dicks, man. They were just, they wouldn't listen to us, any concerns. It was like, oh, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. It was just kind of
a typical,
and then
recruiter mentality.
Yeah, it was weak.
So why did you decide to go, or as your small unit? Why did you decide to go broker? What led you that way?
We saw how much better the rates were.
Okay.
Like tremendously. So on average, JP, I'm half a percentage, sometimes even
in your area, in your market. Yeah.
Yeah, because the margins are
sometimes a full
1%.
So margins are crazy in that area. Now that's a different Long Island's just a different type of area.
Yeah. It's so diverse too, because you've got crazy jumbo stuff, and then you've got stuff selling for like $250, which for us is a small loan amount, by the way, $250.
Yeah. Some people would kill for that.
Yeah. So it's different, but because the margins are so big, and to be fair, right, because that's how the business is set up. They have this overhead, they have all of that. I'm not saying all those lenders are trying to rip
not at
people
all.
off.
That's why we have this, to try and go deeper to see, why you're in this side and why it's better for you. It's not for everyone, but people gravitating. Yeah, you get it. Same.
Yeah, so it was the business, but I didn't know how much better, one, the rates were as a broker, and two, how great the servicing is and how good the communication is between underwriting and operations. So what's actually ironic, right, is that the lenders that we send our loans to, so to give you some perspective, we're 99% UWM. Everything that we send, we try and send to UWM. But, they want our business, right? So they cater to us. When you're at one bank and, you can't take your loan anywhere else unless you move everything and you have an issue, and the underwriter's like, screw you, man. You can wait a day for me to get back to you. You're not going anywhere else.
They got you trapped. They got you handcuffed.
Yeah. So you don't have that. Like, everyone thinks, because the underwriters are in wherever, Detroit or Texas, that the communication is tough, but it's not true. It's actually easier.
Yeah, I say this on almost every one of these podcasts because it comes up. I'm seeing a lot of consistencies here. Is the term broker sells a bad name to it, right? And what people think is you don't have the control.
Yep.
You actually have more control.
You have more,
and you're really a teammate with the client and your realtor partner, right? You're a real team to say, here's options. I'm not forcing you to go here, right? But here's the options that we have, depending on time frame, depending on their specific situation. You're a true advisor in the mortgage broker world, in my opinion. Yep. So that hits the point right there. Like you're saying, we actually have more control.
We do.
No matter where, because it's wholesale. They need us to have business. I mean, it's not complex here.
No,
it's very simple.
Yeah, it's very, very simple. So I think if people who are thinking, or who are in retail and are thinking about switching over to the broker business, like that should, I understand it, because that was also something that we took into consideration before we went brokers. Like, we were like, the appraisers aren't local. They don't know the market, which is not true. That you can't get anyone.
They all have the same AMC. We're not the same AMCs, but it's still the same.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny, actually, is that we recently recruited an LO team from one of these small Long Island banks. And what's funny is that they couldn't process the loan quickly enough. So their whole thing is like, we charge a little bit more, our margins are a little bit high, but we close quicker, our service is impeccable. And this lady is like, Ben, I can't get my loans to close in under 60 days. And we're like average CTC in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. So it's so easy. It's just the hard part, I think, is getting the message out there, because
it's very hard.
Because it's so much better. And if I sound like a fanboy, that's cool. But it's made a dramatic difference for my business, dude, because I've quadrupled my business.
Yeah, you just had one of the biggest months of your career. What, October?
October, 15 loans. There was 6.5
Crazy
million.
That's awesome, man. Congrats.
Thanks, man. So, I wasn't doing that before. I was on average closing 3 to 5 deals a month. Yeah. It's not impressive whatsoever. By New York standards, it's pretty decent, but it's not an amazing number. So it's just different. But the difference is, as well, is that because the system as a broker is actually, the technology is better, the communication is more streamlined, you can easily close way more deals.
Yes.
Right. And with a quarter of the amount of work, and because the service is so good, everyone is referring you. Right. So that's a tremendous part of it. And I think if people understood that, because everyone just looks at the short term, they're like, the margins are a little bit lower. You got to go super, super lean. But look, in 6-7 months, you're going to be up to your eyeballs. You're going to be very, very busy. Yeah. And that's the way to look at it.
Yeah. One thing I've seen, it's funny you brought up the being CTC early, and the quickness of it is they almost, especially UWM, what I've seen is they don't care about the closing date. That's going to sound weird for a second, but when I was working with other companies, it was like, yeah, waiting for that CTC a day before closing, and you can deliver that awesome news. Now it's just like, hey, you're clear to close. I don't care if the it's 3 weeks out. Like, you might have to get a new VOE. I get all that, but there's like, yeah, you're clear to close. So I'm having these weird calls with people who
awesome.
It was too soon.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a shock to the system.
We have the same issue, actually. So in, again, New York, it's very, very common for the attorneys not to resolve any seller title related issues until like the last minute. It's just how they roll.
Right. But title is something different because you can't get certain things to the end sometimes as well. So, but go ahead.
It's fair. But what typically happens is that we're clear to close in 2-3 weeks and the seller isn't ready for another month. Which on average, closings in Long Island are about 6 to 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. The 5 boroughs, it's quicker. Tends to be between 3 and 5, depending. But we're always ready. We're always before everyone, and making that phone call to the realtors, to the attorneys, to the buyers. Like, I love doing it. I'm like, what do you want, baby? I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I was born ready. Let's go. Let's close. And they're like, oh, I won't be ready for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, good, no problem. Just we'll get it scheduled. We'll get you closed.
Go take a couple naps and go on a couple vacations and come back, and we'll close you that.
It's a pleasure. And here's the other crazy part, because the process is so much smoother and the organization. And I have to give props to, Affordable Financials, that we've built a very, very good system. It's like, I've traveled more this year than I have any other year of my life. I've gone away. I mean, a lot of it's been business related as well, but even just vacations, it's so much easier because we have a system, and it's easier to do that there.
Well, this is a lifestyle business.
Yeah.
Right? If you wanted to, you could work 24/7. Right? That's the tough part about our industry is, yes, there's quote unquote flexibility, but there's not.
Yeah.
Right? So, and forget about mortgages, where the world's going, where you need to be on call at all times. Every type of business is turning into that, right? Yeah. Mortgage business is a great business, a great way to make money. It's great for your lifestyle if it's controlled. But like you just said, like, you've been able to take vacations and worry about your own life. You only have one life here, right? And what, are you going to work 24/7? No, let's put the systems in place. Let's make the type of money we need to make. Let's do right by the consumer. Let's think long term, but in the short term, let's take care of ourselves.
Exactly.
Right. I mean,
we have to, otherwise we cannot serve the people that we work for, that we work with. It's just not possible. So,
it's a full trickle down.
Yeah, exactly. And you need that mental break to perform well. Like Thanksgiving weekend, I got some referrals, and obviously I spoke to people, but I wasn't actively working. Like, typically I'm grinding. It's like, and
there's a time to grind. We get it.
Yeah. And this time I was just like, I need to recharge.
Well, let's talk about Affordable Financial then. Yep. How's your setup?
In terms of what exactly?
Like your little squad. So you're an LO, right? Yeah. You're the main LO.
Yeah, and I've just got one junior LO under me.
Okay, you got a junior LO.
And I've got 2 virtual assistants in the Philippines that help out too.
2 VAs. Can we learn more about that? Because I'm interested.
Yeah.
My buddy Jason Sharon was on about a month ago, and
I know Jason well.
He just did a video on that. That's in Brokers Are Better, I believe. Check that out, about VAs. Can you spend a little bit of time on how they work?
Yeah,
what they do?
It's quite simple. They can do anything and everything that you want them to do, whether it's like posting stuff or creating this, creating that. But to me, the most valuable thing is what I need is manpower and people to call leads. So I, on average, get not referrals. I'm talking about just pure leads from online marketing stuff. Is probably like 1,000 to 1,500 a month.
Whoa, so just you?
It's a lot. Yeah, I don't manage it particularly well, I'll be honest.
Well, that's tough.
Well, it's also not the type of business that I'm trying to go after, because it's something that I'm getting to. But to me, what's more important is the referrals.
100%.
Whatever's going on in the market currently. So what the VAs basically do is call all these leads, vet them out, get to know them, and we'll refer them. So their instructions are to live transfer the call to a realtor, if they need a realtor, depending on where they are and how the conversation goes, or live transfer them to me or my junior. Right.
If it's vetted out.
Yeah,
You're not
it
sending
has to be vetted out.
And you train them what to ask?
Yeah, so train them. So first thing, they have to build rapport, ask them where they want to buy, all that stuff, bedrooms, this area, yada, yada.
Okay.
And then once they do that, because obviously that's important, then they'll get to the mortgage stuff. So they'll ask, are you pre-approved? Do you want a second opinion? Do you want to get on the phone with a loan officer right now? And even if they are pre-approved, they'll still ask them qualifying questions because, again, most loan officers in my market don't know how to pre-approve someone correctly.
Sure.
Right? Like a lot of them don't even collect documents for a pre-approval.
Right.
I know that sounds like Stone Age shit, but it's happening.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll ask them, like, did they explain the process to you from start to finish? Do you know what type of loan you're getting? Right? So it's not just the qualifying questions, the standard income, assets, and credit, right? They go through that, but it's also making sure that the consumer is educated on the process. So that's something that I'm very, very keen on is when I meet with a client, and this may sound like a shock to a lot of the guys listening or the gals as well, because everyone that I speak to, especially in our groups, like I never meet with my clients, and not because you don't want to meet, but the clients don't want to meet either.
No, that's a really good point.
Yeah, my clients are the opposite. They all want to meet. They all want to meet in person, especially like when they see the videos and stuff. They're like, I want to meet Ben. So,
hello.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I get it. Oh, cheerio. I'm like,
yeah, good.
If they do well, I cut a percentage off their interest rate. So, we sit with them for anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes and just walk them through the process from start to finish. Because again, I know I keep saying this, but the New York mortgage process is a little bit more complicated. And
when you meet face to face with someone, are they? I mean, there's always going to be a straggler there, but you got them. I mean, they're not shopping you.
No, they're not. But it's for two reasons. One, because obviously we build the rapport and they love us, but we destroy everyone in terms of rates and service. Like it's like if you go somewhere else, I think that you're crazy. And I sometimes I tell people straight up, it's like, what are your rates like? I'm like, they're this amount. You're more than welcome to shop it around. I have no problem because I know that I absolutely obliterate everyone. So by all means, and if you don't want to waste your time, don't, but you could take my word for it, whatever. And explaining the process to them start to finish also helps us from an operational side because then they're not calling us every freaking day because no one told them, that they have to pay for an appraisal, an inspection.
You give them the full rundown.
Yeah, because then
no surprises.
Exactly, and it's done for selfish reasons as well because if I do that up front, they're not calling me at 9:30 saying, "Hey, what's going on?" So it serves not just me, but it serves them as well.
Right. So, all right. So you have a lot of leads coming in, right?
Yeah.
Let's move a little bit to we talked about the VAs, the virtual assistants, vetting them out, but you're getting 1,000 to 1,500 leads a month. How are you doing that?
Everything. Zillow, Realtor.com.
Okay. You doing Facebook ads?
Facebook ads I do.
You have a funnel coming in?
Yeah.
What are you using for that?
Got a bunch.
What's the funnel? If you want to.
So recently, I used to use like the old system. I forget everything. Like I forget the names, but just standard landing pages to capture information. Okay. So now another guy in my office is very, very good with Facebook ads. So what he does is that he puts them into a Facebook Messenger bot. Okay. And the bot vets them out and talks to them and asks them qualifying questions. And then when they ask them, all the questions are answered and we get the phone number, then that person will go either to my team or it will go to a realtor depending on what that client needs help with at the specific time. Right? Because we're not like trying to speak to everyone.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah. It doesn't. It also doesn't make sense. It doesn't serve the consumer. If the consumer is comfortable with their pre-approval and everything, even though I do know that, let's say that I'm better than them and I can give them a better deal, the last thing I want to do is make that person feel uncomfortable and force them to talk to us. So we push them, hey, you should speak to this realtor or these realtors and see who you're most comfortable with. And then look, if they speak to the realtor and they want to talk to us, great. If not, that realtor got another deal and they're happy.
Yeah, you're not basing your whole month on one deal.
Yeah.
You're not worried about that. There's a couple different mentalities in our industry. Is every lead you get, you try to close.
Yeah.
You have a little bit of a different mentality of how your system's set up right now is you're going to vet them out until it turns into a good lead.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're gonna work on closing that.
Of course. But I'll say this, with the colder leads, they do require more work. For sure. It's more conversations on selling them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's why I don't focus a ton of it, even though I get all these leads.
But it's there to maybe even support your realtor partners as well. Is that a big why?
That's the main purpose, right? Because if I can give them business somehow, even if I don't get the business back, it's cool because, you know, one, managing like the stress of saying, oh, I gave you a deal, you need to give me a deal. Like that it's exhausting. Like I'd rather just focus and then look, I reassess it every month or two. And then look, if it's not even, right, or there's no type of reciprocity, then I call them out and I'm like, hey, you know, what's going on? Am I not servicing you well?
Is it me? Is it you?
Yeah, and in most cases it's them because we are the shit.
Of course.
Yeah, you know.
All right, well, I want to move into something. So we understand that part of the marketing, right? Yeah. So I think everyone's figuring out how you do your business. That's what I was trying to get out to you.
Yeah,
I think you presented it well.
So just, again, to establish that, JP, is that whole lead thing isn't the core of my business.
No.
It was a few years ago, and then I moved away from it because I just don't like working with cold leads. I don't enjoy it.
Right. It's a supplement at this point in time, and to help out your realtor partners to help cultivate the right relationships with them.
That's it.
As well.
Perfectly
right?
said.
Does that make sense?
Said, yeah.
All right. So we figured out how that side of the marketing is going, but let's talk about what the personality you became on social media.
Yeah.
Right. I follow you. I watch your videos. It's that mix of fun.
Do you watch them late at night before?
Yeah, sometimes I do, but it's after the kids are asleep because you're creepy. But
hello, children.
So you have your videos, which are just great, man. Yeah. I love to dive into those of how number one, it's helped you. Let's be honest, with your confidence. I just heard your story.
Yeah.
You even just said your latest audiobook or podcast is about public speaking.
Yeah.
From everyone out there listening to and people that know you, they're like, what? Because I think you speak very beautifully and eloquently, trying to be English speaking now. You sound great, but you're always working on that, right?
Yeah.
So what led you to do video? Was it a test for you?
So, we all know, as of 5 years ago, through a social media marketer that we all know in our little group.
Sure.
So he put me onto it, and I didn't do any strong video until maybe a year or two ago. Actually, not even 2 years ago, just a year ago. So,
and these are well-produced videos.
Yeah. So,
right? Let's talk in it.
I'll get into that in a second. But so I was told to do it 5 years ago. Like, you should be doing video. And there were two reasons why I didn't. One, I didn't feel like I was a good enough loan officer to really market myself.
We talked about that.
So I did make videos, but they were for lead generation purposes. So I would make a video for NYPD, FDNY, and say, hey, New York City police officer, we can do a mortgage consultation, yada, yada.
So you looked at niches, which is very important if you're starting out and marketing. Look at a niche. Go.
Exactly. So that's really the scope of all my video, or was the scope of my video. And then you get comfortable, right? So the first few videos, you shoot them 20 times over and you critique yourself and all that stuff. And as time goes on, you start to care less. So I'll dive into that right now, because I think that's very important for people to know, that no one actually gives a shit about your video. People don't give a shit about my video either, right? So every time I make a video, I just keep two things in mind, right? One, people have to know that Ben Lavender is the British mortgage broker, right? And that's what I do for a living. And the video has to be somewhat memorable or entertaining. That's it. The content of my video is not actually that important. People, like I made a video a couple weeks ago on buying a multifamily home, and 3.5% down payment FHA, 5% down payment home possible, 25% investment, blah 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 blah. And I didn't get into all the LTV and all the nonsense.
There's so much.
Yeah, it would be a 10-minute video to explain it well. that covers my ass in a compliant matter as well, because you can't put out wrong information.
Yep.
So you got to be careful. So I never talk about rates. You know, I say rates are good, the market's good, but I'll never throw out specific numbers. Never. And then if I did, actually, that's not fair. I did one recently where I talked about specific numbers. You lying Brit. So I basically said, this is an example just for context. This is not what rates are. This is not what your rate is. This is just to explain it to you. So I keep that in mind. They just have to be entertaining because, again, the content isn't that important because, and this goes back to people not, like, no one gives a shit what's on your video, because think about how much stuff we see on social media on a daily basis. Tons and tons of stuff. So it's like, yeah, there's my video, right? Which is for the first 3 seconds, you kind of have to hook them in, but they're scrolling to the next, you know, cat meme and crazy lady right after. They don't care about my stupid mortgage video. It's just about staying in front of them on a regular basis. So when they're ready to roll, they think of you. Or if they hear that someone they know is ready to roll, they think of you. So the point that I'm taking forever to get across is that don't overly critique your videos, how you look, how you pronounce stuff. Because let's say that you mispronounce a word, right? Like people like in their head, you know, JP mispronounced the word and then they move on with their day. They're not going on Google, 1-star review, JP mispronounced elephant. Right? So it's like, don't just think about it. Just freaking do it, man. No one cares.
And be authentic and be yourself, right? Because
no, don't be yourself. Be fake. I'm kidding.
No, of course, right? Now, you mean you have produced videos and you have just pulling up the phone. There's different ways of doing it. But what I think what you're trying to get out, if I can summarize it, is yes, be yourself. Get them to know who you are on a consistent basis. Do it. Don't worry about it. Where it's beating you up for a week because you thought about you mispronounced elephant. Elephant.
The Fifth Element.
Yes. Fifth Element.
Which, by the way, I thought when I was a kid, I watched that movie. I thought the whole movie was about elephants. So like the movie ended and I turned to my dad. I'm like, Dad, where's the elephant? He's like, no, you idiot. It's Fifth Element. But yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that, but I was trying to summarize about just doing it. Okay, here, because don't do all your videos on content of LTV because it's numerous, rate, LTV, investment. What you're trying to do is build the trust, because at some point they're going to come to you and they're going to not have a billion questions about LTV where you can speak in a circle. They're going to trust that you're going to do the right thing by them. It's really a trickle down. In my opinion.
No, it's true.
It's like the Matrix. It's like doing this and doing this. So eventually they come to you and they trust you to put them in the right position for them.
Of course. And the majority of my clients don't care really. It's just they want to be told what, like you said, what's good for them. They don't get into all the specifics on LTV and all that stuff anyway. So that's not really a concern. The concern is just making them comfortable. So let's say like someone sees my videos and the content and whatever, right? And then they reach out. They're not really asking me about, you know, rate, what's your pricing like, which is ironic because that's a part of my business that I know I'm super, super competitive, but they don't even ask it. They're like, you know, I know Ben, I feel comfortable with him. I'm not going to some random dude. This is my mortgage guy.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty in it.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. Like you've followed me. We know what I do, and I've been doing this 5-6 years now, where I went all in social media and branding. Yeah. Right. And
I want my damn husband.
I have one for you. Medium, small,
extra small.
But I went in, saying I don't like cold calling people. I don't like that about myself. I'll be stuttering the whole time on the phone. I don't like doing it. Yeah. So I went all in, and now it's come to a spot where people have trusted us enough, and we also are very ethical and we do the right thing, because I can't sleep at night if I do something wrong, or if I know we have a closing tomorrow and we need this, whether it's my fault or not. But they'll come and say, I just want to work with you for a t-shirt.
Oh, wow.
I've gotten that plenty of times now, which is really cool, because it knows I put that time and that effort into building something that's trustworthy, and people want that.
That's amazing.
And I've given people a shirt at closing. I'm like, here's a $300,000 shirt. Yeah. Like, I'm just working with you because I want to get a shirt.
That's funny.
It's pretty cool. So I think, and it's probably already happening, like you said, because in today's world, you don't have to spend 5 or 6 years like myself. No. You can do it in a 6-month, year time frame. maybe
Yes.
earlier.
You can.
You can do it. Like, and people still aren't doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to just do it.
That's
right?
good. That's good. And I going back to what I said 10 minutes ago is like, if the easiest way I think to get people comfortable, it's not like teaching them, the right way, like the right posture to have or the way to enunciate words. There is power in knowing that people don't care about your videos as much as you think they do, that you're not that special. Right, because then you'll put out more content. Because think about it, like think about how many people are trying to become famous, right? And they're doing everything that they can to become famous, and they can't do it. So think about it, like if you can't even make a mortgage video, how are you going to become well known in your market? And you're not even trying. So you have to really put in an effort to get your name out there.
And make yourself different. Right?
Yeah, and be authentic, like you said.
Right. Everyone, like you're seeing it right now. Everyone's doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting on social media. Everyone's trying to follow. Like, of course, we're sitting here I'm trying to break out of you what people should do, but you're also like, do it your own way.
Yeah.
You're just giving a template, but you have to be different. My law of marketing, or I don't call it marketing anymore, I call it messaging, which is awesome, is watch what everyone else is doing and do the complete opposite.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, tell me more about that.
Well, all right. So you have a template of, okay, you want to post before 9 o'clock, maybe at noon, after 5. Like, you have the template of what you should do. But in terms of your content, watch what everyone else is doing, because everyone likes to be followers, and the trend goes this way.
It's true.
Look at what they're doing, go the complete opposite way. Still following a template.
I like it. Yeah.
And then who's going to stand out? You are.
Yeah.
I mean, be true to yourself, be authentic, but see what people are doing.
It's so simple.
Go the other way.
That has to be so effective.
But you're the British mortgage broker.
True.
Like,
I'm just being myself. I'm not trying to follow that.
But you at least found something that made you different.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, because it's hard for people to relate to that, because not everyone is British, right, in America. So that's a good point. That's an advantage that I have for sure. But like making my videos somewhat humorous. Like, did you see my Credit Karma video?
Yeah, it was great.
Like, I hit a bunch of people with the steel chairs. That was so much fun.
Yeah. That was great. Yeah, you got to follow. Where do they go and follow? Just on your personal? Or where are they going to find these videos? Because that's tough.
Personal Facebook page. Okay. My Instagram, BLavMTG. I got a YouTube channel. I'm on LinkedIn.
You're hitting it everywhere.
Everywhere, thanks to Gary Vee. It was like, you gotta smash it. So, literally TikTok? Google me. TikTok, that's next.
I feel like you'd be awesome on TikTok. I just started on the TikTok.
So far, so good.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm doing stupid stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing mortgage related. It's just with my kids. The idea, right? Well, that's the idea anyway. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about that. I'd love to know more. I have TikTok, but I haven't used it.
Yeah. I mean, it's another thing. If there's a way for you to, it's just different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quick clips. It's
pure entertainment, right?
Yeah.
But you can take those TikTok videos. I don't know if you do this.
You can.
But do you put it on Insta and Facebook and everything?
I've done it here and there, but I'm testing it as well. I mean, I think you'd be great on that.
Thanks. Yeah, that's next for me for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we got about 5-10 minutes left.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna go hard at you.
Do it.
No, I'm kidding.
That's how I want it.
If someone.
That's what she said.
Oh. All right, we're done. No, I'm kidding. You all right back there, Ricky?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Ricky's the man.
He's loving it.
Shout out to Ricky. If someone is starting or trying to, how about this? Revamp their business. Because there's a lot of people in this industry that have been doing this a long time. And I really respect those people because they've been going through the ups and downs. And the ones that switch their business around and constantly evolve, I love them for it, right? Someone that's trying to revamp their business in the mortgage industry. What's one or two things you think some advice for them of what to do to ramp up quick and to stay relevant?
Well, one, I like what you said before about do the opposite. Like, not necessarily of posting, but if there's an aspect to your business that you're not doing, do that. So my philosophy, it's I wouldn't say it's a good one, but it's basically try everything. Try everything and anything.
Like that.
See what works for you. Basically throw it all at a wall and see what sticks. And not all of it you will like doing or will convert well, but find what works well for you. So that's one thing. Try everything. And two, obviously, is the social media aspect. Is like I have a system in terms of how I interact with people on Facebook, not just what I post, but how I, comment on other stuff and the whole like glue and whatever.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. You have to be on social in one capacity or another. It's the easiest way. It's free. It's not difficult. And it's funny, like, I'm on my cell phone the majority of the time. So if you go to my office and like you're looking through my window thing, it looks like I'm just screwing around at work. Like I'm just on my phone, but
no, you're constantly.
Yeah, but I'm working. And it's like that's how we do business. So that's something that you have to do. If you're not doing it already, you have to be on social, putting out all types of different content. I'm not on Gary Vee's level where I'm putting out 50 pieces of content a day, but you got to put yourself out there, make sure that people see your face, see that you're relatable, right? And that you're a human being. Because like you said, my videos are produced, but I put in a kind of a conscious effort to not overly produce them because I'm not trying to look like a big, expensive corporate company. So now what I'm doing, I'm just recording these videos in one take on an iPhone, right? Because if the production is over the top, they're going to be like, this guy's
It's funny how that's moving, right?
Yeah. So you got to keep it simple, depending on your market, obviously. If you're in the jumbo market, it's different. And just, like you said, be yourself and put yourself out there. Yeah. Be yourself, put yourself out there.
That was the whole point of this podcast, being different. We did this one a bit different. Not sarcasm, maybe, but we're having fun. We know each other.
A little bit. We dialed it back a little.
Yeah. Last question. The industry, it's changing rapidly.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you see it being in 5 years?
You should all quit now. Get out while you can.
Get out. That's very selfish because then you're going to take it.
I see it... everyone's saying like we're going to get replaced by AI and all this nonsense. So I absolutely think that is correct to some degree. There's a certain population that will work with you, and there's a certain population that will work with the app on your phone, whether it's Amazon, Quicken, Google, whoever. So it's just different types of population. So we have to cater to the population that wants the hand holding, that wants the personal touch. Like you have people who are, socially inept and they don't want to speak to people. Like everyone says, millennials, they just want to do it on their phone and all that, and they don't want to speak to anyone, which I don't think is completely true, by the way.
They want to use it to get to a spot so they feel comfortable, then they want to have the conversation.
Precisely.
So it's called, I call it personalized automation. You're using automation to get to a spot to make people feel comfortable to speak because they do want to speak to someone and trust them.
Yeah, and a lot of people feel too intimidated to make that first phone call, which is why having the technology to get them into it is a great idea. Like that was a video that I posted last week is like, if you don't want to speak to me and you hate British people, you can fill out an application online. Yeah. No problem. You don't have to speak to me.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to cater to both sides, but something Gary Vee said at Fuse is that you can use social media to build your brand and your database of people that will use you and only think of you. Of course, there's competition, but that's a huge part of it. So I think it's definitely going to play a factor. If you don't think that it's going to impact your business some way, you are delusional. And you have to get on board with it and make it easier for your consumer. So every time... and I do this once or twice a year, is like I think about the businesses. I take the Amazon approach, is like how do you make it consumer-centric, as easy for the consumer as possible? And again, it's done for selfish reasons, because the easier I make it for them, the process will not only be smoother for them, but they'll be more likely to work with me. So yeah, just get on board.
Get on board. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
That was Ben Lavender. I appreciate it, dude. Love you.
Love you, bro.
All right, man.